Whenever I wear this makeup, I get so many compliments and it is so easy. So let me talk you through every single step in depth. It is basically just boring glam, but when you do boring glam right, it can look incredible. I feel like sometimes with shorter form content, I miss out some of these vital steps that are actually so important, but I just don't have time to speak about it. But obviously we all know that skin prep is important, but I feel like some people just forget about their lips. I've been using the Peptide Calm, what is this called? Lip Milk. Basically, every single time I do my makeup, I put it on as my first step and let it like sink in throughout. It does start off looking milky, obviously, hence the name, but it does sink right in. And now obviously moving on to skin prep, I have been absolutely loving the We Cherie Glow. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll know that I use We Cherie literally every single time I do my makeup, but since they've come out with the glow version, I can't get enough of this. It's just such a unique product because you don't often get like a grippy primer that is also glowy. I hope you can already see how glowy that's making my skin, and honestly, this makes all the difference in the world. I don't always do it this way around, but if I want to look extra snatched, then I will do my eyebrows at this point now. I don't always do it like this because it takes extra time and I can't really be bothered, but yeah, if I want to look like super perfect, then I feel like I have to do my eyebrows at this stage so I can carve them out. And no, I don't mean like a 2016 carve, like it's still gonna be like soft, but I just feel like everything looks neater, and then when everything looks neater, you look more snatched. Like honestly, if you want to look snatched, you just need to take your time and do everything really precisely. That is like my kind of best advice to you. So I'm using the by Caitlin Collection brow pen. I focus most of the pen along the bottom to create some extra brow hairs. And now doing the same for this side. I don't know why, I always find this side a lot harder to do with the brow pen. And now that they look absolutely insane, I'm gonna take my Anastasia Brow Wiz. I use this to fill in more of the tops of my brows. I feel like, especially when I've got brow lamination, it creates like a softer effect on the top, but like more intense on the bottom with the brow pen. I know they look absolutely insane right now. You've got to trust the process. Oh, I've got hair on that, lovely. This is my Jekka Black Brow Gel. This is one of my go-tos for like full glam because it literally doesn't budge. I don't find that it gives like any of that, do you know that white residue that some brow gels do? This one's a great one if you've got stubborn eyebrows as well, because yeah, it's literally like so stronghold. Now to carve out my eyebrows, I am taking the Lancome Tint, I find this really hard to say, Tint Idol, this one. So I'm using a Peaches and Cream PC52 brush. I also would recommend using a concealer that is like close to your skin tone. For me, I don't think it's the most flattering if I use a lighter concealer around my eyebrows. I just feel like it's drawing too much attention. I am fully aware that they look intense right now, but trust me, when the rest of my makeup's on, it'll be okay. So I have about 3 favourite foundations that I kind of swap between that are my favourites. Today I'm going to use the House Labs. I use the shade 230 Light Medium Cool, but I also swap between the Huda Beauty Easy Blur and also the Maybelline, why am I so bad with product names? The Superstay, you know, the one with the purple lid, I absolutely love that one. And obviously that one is a lot more affordable, so if you're on a budget, go for that one. I'm applying this with a Mitchell 2 brush, I think that's what it is. Sorry, can you just see the texture of my skin? I think the combination of the primer and the foundation, they literally just work so well together. I can't remember if I said already, but the reason why I do my primer before my eyebrows is so that it can like sink in and dry down a little bit before I go in with my foundation. I feel like especially with a grippy primer, you want it to like sink in and settle down. Now I'm going to move on to some cream bronzer, and I really love this Be Perfect one. I use the shade Swell. I feel like this is one of those steps where you want to be quite precise in where you're putting it. It obviously depends on your face shape and kind of what you're wanting to get out of like bronzing and contouring, but I personally like my cheeks to be a little bit more lifted, so I do like almost a curve rather than like a straight down sort of situation. I also love a little bit of bronzer on my forehead, so I do go up there. And then for my nose contour is one of my favourite steps in my routine, but I draw a line underneath, and then I like mine to look a little bit lifted, so I do a line there to make it kind of look like a button, and then a little line up the top there, and same on the other side. Now blending out is just as important as where you put the product. I use a HF Cosmetics HF14 brush, so I just want to be careful not to blend it down into this bit here because that will drag my cheeks down, and like I said, I want mine to look a little bit more lifted. So I basically start by tapping the top. I almost don't really go over that bottom line. I really do just focus on blending out the top, and then I feel like as you're kind of blending out the top, naturally the bottom line kind of does fade out and diffuse a little bit as well. Obviously I still need to blend it further, but I hope you can see that literally just blending that top line there has already started to diffuse it, because obviously you kind of do slightly overlap onto the bottom bit. And then for my nose, I have this really ridiculously old brush, which is It Cosmetics. It's a number 5 brush. I don't know if that's still a thing, but it's my favorite for nose contour. I try not to move the product around too much. And then just tapping this line here as well. I do like to keep this one quite a harsh line. And then for the side ones, instead of tapping, I do kind of drag a little bit. For concealer, I am just a creature of habit and I stick to what I know because I'm so fussy with concealers, but I absolutely love this one. It is the HMB. I use the shade SF2N and I also then put a little bit of SF0. This will look insane, but when it blends out, it literally looks so good and creates such a bright effect underneath the eyes. I feel like this little puff that I use is actually quite unique. It's from the Beauty Crop and I don't see a lot of people using these, but it creates the most flawless under eye because I feel like it doesn't soak up too much product. So I would highly recommend, if you're not using a puff underneath your eyes yet, use a puff. I blend out the darker colour first and then go into the lighter colour. Oh my god guys, I joined the Stanley crew. I've got the most gorgeous colour. It is like the Harrods green one. It's honestly unreal. I've seen loads of people saying that you get wrinkles around your lips from drinking up these though, so now I'm like very cautious. Anyway, now for blusher. I love a cool toned blusher. I've been so into the Huda Beauty Ube one. This is like more of a purple almost, but I love how this is like more cool toned and purpley, but then I put a pink shimmery blusher on top later and I feel like the combination is just to die for. My blush brush is basically the smaller version of the bronzer one. It is the HF17 and this product blends out so easy, you don't even really have to do much. I basically just tap around the edges. If I want my makeup to look flawless and last all day, I will pretty much always reach for the Huda Beauty powder. I'm picking up some product on my Trigwell puff and I really rub this in. I don't want there to be too much excess on the puff, and I also feel like the more evenly it's on the puff, the more evenly it will go on your face. I've been talking for too long now, so let me blend out my creases again. And I basically just stamp this right underneath my eyes. Like, I'm sorry, the difference. And then obviously same to the other side. I actually really like a glowy, dewy makeup, but I need my under eyes to be like set. I don't really like a dewy under eye. I want my under eyes to be like matte and properly set down because I crease so easily. So now that my under eyes are done, I focus a little bit of product kind of around my nostrils and then the excess over the nose, a little bit onto the chin, smile lines, and then very center of the forehead and in between the eyebrows. And then I go in with a very light dusting of pressed powder over the rest of my face just so it's set down, but I like to keep a little bit of the glow kind of around the perimeters, but I don't want to feel sticky at the same time, so I do set it down, but just a lot lighter than the centre of my face. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury powder for this. And now that I'm looking really matte, I'm going to bring some life back to my face with the Wishery Mist. Highly recommend holding your hair back when you do this so that you don't get setting spray all in your hair, especially one that has oil in. This is just like an instant refresh and it brings so much life back to your skin. The only bronzer I use at the minute is the Made by Mitchell one. This is a baked bronzer. I use the shade Cinnamon Girl and I absolutely love this because it obviously adds some glow and some life back to your face. So it's giving like a dewy look without being wet. Anything that's long lasting and glowy all at the same time, like count me in. Potentially my favourite step of my whole makeup routine. This will honestly transform everything. Just wait and see. This is Poppin' Peony from the Beauty Crop. They did bring out a new formula of this, but this is the old one. I don't know why, I've just been reaching for this one again. I just love it so much. And I get questions on this brush a lot as well, is the Kaleidos B1 blush brush. And just watch. Obviously matte cheeks. And now we have glowy cheeks. This is kind of like a 2-in-1 for me. It is like a blusher and a highlighter all in one. Now for the other side, I honestly just love this product so much. This is something that I would never ever show on one of my like shorter form videos, but I do actually highlight my nose. I just don't show it because it's like very boring and it takes up time for like no reason. But I do feel like this makeup look, like, let's be real, it's a boring makeup look, but it's these little details that kind of make it look better and look more glam. So I'm just taking a highlighter and I do a really small amount on the tip of my nose and then just a tiny bit right in between my eyebrows here. And that is it. That is why I don't show it normally. I just realised that I lied to you because I do use a different bronzer, but I don't use it as a bronzer. I use it on my eyes. This is the Charlotte Tilbury in the shade 2, but to be honest, any will work for this because I'm literally just shoving this through my crease. Well, I'm actually focusing it on my outer corner. So I'm almost like connecting this up to my forehead bronzer. I know that probably sounds a little bit strange, but it just creates like a lifted effect. Can you see the difference between that and that? Again, it's these subtle things that kind of bring it all to life. If you do basic makeup properly, then it doesn't look like basic makeup. And then I'm literally just powdering my eyelids just so that they don't crease either. Oh, I do also take that highlighter again and just pop it on my inner corners just so that it's like a little bit brighter. Maybe I'm delusional, but I feel like this side looks fancier. Tell me if I'm delusional. I am taking the Kosas liner in the shade Depth. It's like a really dark brown. So first step is lining it up with kind of like your lower waterline and then dragging it out in the same direction as the waterline is going. And then I'm coming in a little bit on my upper eyelid and then I'm going to connect it to where we've just dragged out that line to. I actually then pick some product up on a little angled brush just to kind of go over it and also diffuse that top line a little bit more. I don't like this to be like a really harsh liner. I want it to be really, really soft. I feel like this bit is what really ties it all together. So I'm actually going to pick some more up on an even smaller brush. And now I'm going to start on the inner corner. This is a little bit annoying because I actually already have some mascara on from earlier. I feel like a lot of people forget about this little bit here, but honestly it ties it all together and creates so much more definition. And then taking a little bit more, I'm just going to run it all the way along and just make sure that those two little bits connect. But I feel like the inner and outer bits are like the most important bits. You also can extend this inner corner a little bit, just if you want like a little bit more of like a foxy eye kind of effect. I really like this on me. I feel like this eye just looks so much more elongated, which is flattering on my eye shape because I have quite round eyes. Next step is eyelashes, and I literally always use Tatty lashes. I actually use the Invisi lashes most of the time, but I'll just use normal glue with it. These ones are the Wispy Volume style, which are my favourite. I take a 14 first, just putting that like on the inside of the lash, if that makes sense. Setting that aside so it can dry down, and then picking up another one and doing the same. After they've dried down a little bit, I'm just picking one up on my tweezers and I'm plopping that on the outer corner, and then same on the other side. Now I'm trying to decide if I want to go in for another 14 or if I want to do a 12. I might do a 12 next so that it's a little bit softer today, but just going to do the same again, grabbing a lash and a little bit of glue. So just putting the 12s right next to the 14s on the outer corners. By the way, I already had mascara on, otherwise I would have done mascara before the lashes, but I also put mascara on after the lashes. This will basically make it look like they're your lashes, and trust me, you'll get so many compliments. You only need like a really little bit, basically just to, this sounds really weird, but to make them look a little bit clumpy. I know that sounds strange, but it's because you want them to look like the same texture as the lashes that are on the inner corner. I really hope that makes sense. Okay, we're almost there. Now just time for lips. I'm just giving my lip pencil a sharpen. If you want nice crisp edges to your lips, you need to sharpen your pencils. The amount of times I see people with a blunt pencil, and you're never gonna get nice sharp lines if you're using a blunt pencil. Anyway, the pencil that I've been reaching for a lot recently is the Peaches and Cream in Borderline. And obviously now that lip milk has all like sunk in and my lips feel nice and smooth and hydrated. I love an overline, I'm not gonna lie, so I'm gonna overline my lips. For the center of my lips, I really have been enjoying a really light pink. Is this the right one? Yeah. This is Iconic London Cloud Kiss in the Buff, and it's a liquid lipstick, guys. I never thought I'd be wearing a liquid lipstick again, but this one is incredible. It's more like moussey, but I literally just do a little bit in the middle and then I just smush my lips together a lot. Like so. I actually do quite like it matte, but I am going to add a gloss on because that's what I normally do if I'm like going out or something, because I hate the feeling of dry lips. So I'm going to take the NYX Fat Oil Lip Drip in Chillin' Like a Villain, and I'm just going to do a tiny amount of this just in the middle. Now one final thing to do, which is take out this roller. Honestly, still can't believe that my hair is like completely heatless. It does need a brush though. Much better. So yeah, this is my in-depth go-to glam. I really hope you guys enjoyed a more in-depth video from me, and I will see you in the next one.